So again, I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to, I think I'm going to use my elliptical marquee. And so the ears come about mid-eye. So I'm going to start out here. I'm going to click and drag. And then I'm going to put this away. I'm going to use my lasso tool to do what we've done before by adding to and taking away from a selection. So I'm going to go to my lasso tool, and I'm going to hold down my Alt key because I want to take away from this selection. And I'm going to kind of just cut off part of that ear. And then I'm going to, no, I'm not, kind of move it over and see if it looks weird. So I think I'm going to go with that for now. I think it might be a little bit wide, but we can mess with that later. So I'm going to go to my eyedropper tool. I'm going to take the face color. So now in my color palette here, I have the face color. And I think I'm going to go a teeny bit darker. So here I am with the color we have right now. I'm going to go a little bit darker and say, okay. So I'm going to edit fill that. Foreground, normal, 100% okay. So from there, we have some like weird shapes inside. That's kind of like, I don't know, something like that. I'm going to go with that for now. No, I'm not. I'm going to go with something like that. And I'm going to make that a little bit darker. So again, I'm going to go to the face color, go even darker. Okay. Edit, fill, foreground, normal, 100% okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oh, and I did that all on the same layer. Probably should have done that second part on a different layer just in case it looks horrific, which it kind of does, but I'm going to go with it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make sure that I'm on this layer, and then I'm gonna edit transform it. So I'm gonna go to the rectangular marquee. I'm gonna make a selection around it, and I'm going to edit. I'm gonna free transform because I don't want to proportionately make it the same. I don't want to make it the same size all the way down. I want to make it skinnier because it looks odd. In fact, I might even skew it. No, I don't think I'll do that. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to say, okay, I have to click the check box at the top. And now I just think it needs to move around somewhere. So I'm going to go with that. I might actually, just for the sake of trying it, see what it looks like behind the face. All right, so I need to, since I have like 17,000 layer 6, what is with layer 6? I'm going to double click that and say, I'm going to say left ear. And I'm going to drag it down, and I'm going to keep going until I get to where the face is. And I'm going to try to go below the face. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Oh, I could. Okay, so let's see. Does that look weird? I'm going to Control D to get rid of my marching ants. Yeah, I think that kind of looks weird. I'm going to drag it above and see if it looks less weird. I mean, it looks weird, period, but no, that looks weird. All right, so maybe move it out a little. All right, I'm going to go with that because I'm going to have hair anyway. So I want to duplicate this ear. What do I do? Anyone?
Do You go to the edit and you could press duplicate.
I could, let's see, can we edit? I could edit copy.
Oh, copy.
Easier than that though, I can just take my left ear, drag it into the new layer icon, and shebang, we have a left ear copy now. So that's for me, that's the easiest, because then otherwise we have to go click, we have to go all the way over here and go click, 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 click. And so the easiest way is the dragging it into the new layer icon. So now we have our left ear and we have another left ear. How do we make that look like a right ear?
You flip horizontally?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So we're going to edit, transform, flip horizontally, and shebang. We now have a weird looking right ear. What I could have done when I moved it over is use my arrow keys, because my arrow keys would keep it perfectly even. But I don't know about you guys. As much as I'd like to say that my ears are perfectly even, I know that my glasses sit a little weird. So I know my ears aren't perfectly even, but you know, just throwing that out there. So I'm actually feeling like that's better. So I'm going to move my left ear up. So sometimes you just have to kind of look at it, and if it looks weird, fix it. Okay, so there's that. So I think what I might do is on my white of my eye, which I should have labeled left white. Okay, so left white, I need to change the labels on these because this is my right eyelid. Just because we're getting to the point where we have a ton of layers. Oh, these are old eyelids. So I actually can, I'll leave them. Okay. So what I wanted to do was go to my, the whites of my eyes. I'm gonna control plus, 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 and then use my space bar to get that hand to move it so I can see. And I wanna add a little bit of shading to my eyeball. So I'm gonna click on my eyedropper and the white of my eye. Obviously I could have just clicked the default colors, but I wanna go a little bit darker, like a very light gray. And I'm going to add a little bit of value to this. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the nose to shade the nose, and with the lips. So I'm going to select the white with my magic wand. So there's the white. I'm going to add a new layer because oh look, layer 6. This is craziness. So I'm going to rename that to right, white, shading. Wonder how long we can make the name. Oh, apparently. Oh, okay. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to use my paintbrush tool. And actually, I want to click on that because I want, no, this is what I want to click on. I'm going to click on this because I want to use a hairy brush, so a soft brush. And that's probably an okay size. So all I'm going to do, oh, you can't see my hands. Well, I want to add value just to this part and this part. And you might not see a lot of it, and that's fine. It's just going to give it a rounded appearance. So I'm going to and then I'm going to play with my opacity. So I'm going to drop that down. Also, I need to put this underneath the eyelid because clearly there wouldn't be value under on top of the eyelid. So I'm hoping this is the proper eyelid. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so now Control minus minus again, and then I'm going to copy that. I'm going to drag this bright white shading into my new layer icon. I think I missed new layer icon. And now I have a copy of it, and I'm going to use my arrow keys to move it over. And I'm going to edit, transform, flip horizontally, and just kind of fit it in there. All right, I'm okay with that. So I'm going to make it smaller. Just gives a little bit of modeling to the eyeball. Okay, so now as much as I like being bald because you don't really have to do your hair, I'm going to add some hair. So now this is obviously going to be it's going to be subjective to you because your hair is different from my hair. So I'm going to kind of wing it, but you can feel free. Okay, so make a new layer. Feel free to experiment with the hair and the brushes. There's a ton of different ways to do everything. And so I'll try to do some different ones. So here we go. So I'm going to change the name of layer 6 because apparently 6 is Photopea's favorite number because I must have 25 layer 6s and I'm not sure why that is. That's okay. So I'm going to name this hair. And so I'm going to go with I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with an elliptical marquee and again on its own layer. So this is going to be ugly for a while. So I'm going to make an ellipse after I actually click on the elliptical marquee. I'm making an ellipse and I'm going to fill it with color. So I'm going to edit, fill. It's absolutely imperative that this is on its own layer. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate that. So I'm going to Control D, get rid of my marching ants. I'm going to edit free transform because I want to do it. I just want it to go where I want it to go. So I'm just going to rotate it on an angle. I'm going to say okay. And then, and keep in mind that your hair does not sit on the top of your head. It is over your forehead. So I'm going to go with something like that. And then actually might make it a little bit bigger, a little bit longer. So edit, free transform again. I'm going to drag a corner and then click the checkbox. So anytime you do any kind of transformation, you need to click the checkbox at the top. And then I'm going to drag that into the new layer icon. So now I have a copy of my hair and I'm going to edit, transform, flip horizontally. Now I have 2 loaves of bread on my head. And that one here, I think I'm going to rotate that a little bit less or more, I'm not sure. So I'm going to free transform and make it a little click the checkbox at the top. And so now I'm going to start adding to that because I don't just have 2 loaves of bread on my head, hopefully. And I'm also going to erase out some stuff. So I'm going to go to my eraser and I'm going to make it bigger. And I'm going to make it a hard eraser. Oh, I want it to be bigger. That might be too big, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm just going to kind of I'd like that to be smoother, so I'm going to try. Okay, not smooth, but that's okay. All right, so now I'm going to add some hair. And what I want to do is draw it in. And I'm not worried about all this here because I'm going to put it behind. So I'm going to edit fill, foreground normal, okay. And then I'm going to drag that. Oh, guess what? Somebody didn't make a new layer. So I need to edit, step backward, step backward, step backward. Okay, so before I fill that, I need to make a new layer. So I'm going to make a new layer and I'm going to say back hair. That's my back hair. Okay. And then I'm going to fill it. So I can't stress enough how important it is that everything's on its own layer because now I can drag this below my ear. And it will actually be behind. So I think I'm going to transform that. Edit, transform, scale. Actually, no, I don't want to scale. I want to edit, free transform because I'm not going to make it proportionately. So I'm just going to bring it out a little bit. And then say okay. And then Control D, get rid of my marching ants. Okay, this hair leaves a little bit to be desired, but that's okay. So I'm going to copy that, drag it into the new layer icon. I'm going to edit, transform, flip horizontally, and I'm going to move that over here. And then I'm going to edit, free transform, make it a little longer. And say okay. So then I'm going to go back to my hair, my initial hair, and I'm going to kind of take some chunks out of that. So I'm going to go, nope, I'm not. Make sure I'm on that layer, backspace, and then hair copy. So there's, some hair. I think I have I'm missing some hair. So I'm going to edit, free transform again, and make that neat. So I don't have a big bald spot in the top of my head. So there's a start at hair. So then you say, but that's not my hair. Point taken. So I'm going to get rid of all of that hair, and maybe I have hair that looks like paintbrush, paintbrush. What would this look like? Okay, new layer. Oh, look, it's layer 6. New hair. And then I'm going to drag that into my new layer icon and edit, transform, flip horizontally, and then move it over here. And then maybe edit, free transform, and maybe rotate it or rotate it. Okay, that's. And keep copying it, make it nice and thick like we wish we could do in real life. And then maybe free transform that, rotate it, click the checkbox. So that's just one brush. I mean, you should really, I mean, the hair is the best part. So you should really experiment with all of these brushes. So we could do hair like that. We could do just color it. I'm not sure why the opacity is at 39% still, but I think that's my fault. So you could just color it and then add highlights and lowlights. But the brushes are great to experiment for hair because hair is so different and the brushes are so different. So if I were to make, I'm going to get rid of all these hairs. Oops, no. So I could do, oops. And then, so if I were doing this here, I like that it has this shape, but I think what I would like to do with that is I would like to rotate it. So I'm going to edit, free transform, and rotate that. Say okay. And then, oops. Okay, that's not exactly what I wanted to do, but that's okay because I can hopefully do that. And then I could just keep adding to that. So hair is, it's an amazing thing. But with the brushes, you can do so much with the brushes because there's lots of different kinds of brushes. You can use them in different ways and you can experiment with it. And if you're using a new layer, you can trash it if it looks like crap. So that's the best part. And that's why it's so important that you're using layers. And also, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's very important for me to name my layers because for some reason, layer 6, I don't know, maybe Photopea says you can only have 6 layers or something. So for some reason, every new layer is named layer 6. So make sure that you're naming them properly so that you can see exactly what's on what layer, aside from having to do this and see what changes. So edit, fill, okay. So if I'm in here, I'm still in my elliptical marquee. If I just move if I click inside and move the outline or the marching ants down, just the outline moves, not the actual object. And then I can just backspace on the keyboard. So that's a good way to make a nice clean line. And whether or not that means that you've copied something that you've already drawn and done that with it, or you've just drawn a fresh new thing. It's a good way to get a nice clean line rather than having to do this. Because I can't even do that. So yeah, we could have lumpy, Botoxy eyelids or clean eyelids. So point to ponder.